What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Guys, we're back with my guy Andrew Austin. I want to give a shout out to my guy Andrew Austin because he commented on one of the videos that I reacted to of his. Hey, I appreciate you. I am learning a little bit more about Sweden, just from some of your videos, some key things and stuff like that. So I appreciate you, especially for one day when I do get to visit Sweden. Just be like, hey, my guy Andrew, hey, he let me know the deal. So now I know. But here we are with 7 things normal in the U.S. that would terrify most Swedes. You know, I did the other videos that would terrify Americans, but now we here with what would terrify the Swedish community. This is gonna be interesting. I know I'm probably gonna be able to agree with a lot, maybe. I know on the other one there was a lot that, you know, it was a little terrifying. A couple of things were a little terrifying. So I'm gonna jump into this. Y'all hit that subscribe button, send down those recommendations. Hey, let's check it out.
Hey guys, what's going on? Andrew coming at you. In one of my previous videos, I talked about 7 things that would terrify most Americans. So now we're gonna do 7 things about America that would terrify most Swedes. Let's get into it.
Yes, sir.
Number 1 has to be shoes inside. Now, some Americans get upset when I talk about this one because they always say like, oh, we take our shoes off when we go inside. It does depend where you live in the United States. If you're in New York City, for example, you're going to be crazy if you don't take your shoes off inside. But a lot of different people in the United States welcome guests in their home and keep their shoes on, and it's more common than you would think. And I really think that would terrify most Swedes. They would be kind of disgusted by that. But we have carpet and we don't have the grus like you guys have, so that's number 1.
Hey, then on another day too, hey, somebody may not have on clean socks. Somebody's feet might be a little funky, a little stanky, you know? So it probably is best that you keep your shoes on, unless you got on like slides or something. I think slides make a difference, you know, because you can easily take those off. But hey, if you're in my house, you can wear your shoes, because I'd rather you have your shoes on than my house stanky and funky.
But we have carpet and we don't have the grus like you guys have, so that's number 1. Number 2 has to be Americans saying hi. You know, when I was in the United States, one thing I really remembered is like how much we wave and say hi to one another. I was running in my parents' neighborhood, and every time like another runner went by, I was waving at them, and then like cars were driving by, the neighbors, and they were waving at me. And I realized, like, when I used to run a lot in the States, we would always wave at one another and just say hi. And we say hi, how are you, so much. And, you know, Swedes kind of like to keep to themselves unless you're in a small town. And I think at first, people just saying hi to Swedes so much would be something that they would find very, very terrifying. Especially, like, one time I waved to a Swede when I first came to Sweden when I was on a run, and I got they had, like, the most terrified look on their face, and then I decided to never wave at a Swede again. Number 3 has to be the healthcare costs. You know, if you come to Sweden from the United and you live in the U.S.
I think saying hi, I feel like it depends on a person's day, because I can say hi to different people. But like you said, when cars come by, different things like that. Because in my neighborhood, people are always going to wave. I wave, you know what I'm saying? It's common. But, I mean, I don't know, Sweden, you know. Most people, like, some people still will stare at you, though, to just look at you, because they might be having a day, you know. They might be having a bad day or something.
You know, if you come to Sweden from the United and you live in the U.S. and let's say you've been living there for a while and you have to get health insurance and pay for things, it's a really weird situation in the United States, because a few things I've heard from people that work in healthcare is if someone doesn't have any healthcare or insurance in the United States, or let's say they're not in the country legally or whatever, they won't get like a bill for their healthcare. But one of the issues in the United States right now with healthcare is that the costs are going up so much, and it's typically like the middle class that gets screwed. And what I mean by this is there's a lot of people right at that middle class level that maybe can't afford something, or let's say they need to go to an appointment, and we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars sometimes. And that's the thing, you have these people in the middle class that can't afford it either, that also need it to be free, but a lot of people get kind of screwed. And it's a shame, really, to see that it happens. In my personal opinion, I think people that don't have insurance, people in the middle class, and even people in the upper class should have the ability to take some type of free healthcare if they want, or still have private healthcare, kind of like how Sweden does it here. But that would be something that would terrify Swedes. On top of that, the cost of insulin in the United States is insane if you compare it to other countries. And on top of that, medications. You know, I've always kind of considered to myself that if the United States government had to pay for medication, you would see the costs of medication drop dramatically. Number 4.
I feel like that with healthcare too. Like, I know a lot of people, like most people don't even go get checked to the doctor because they're gonna have to pay a fee just to get checked, and that fee is not even it's not like a little bit. It's not like a simple $100 to it's like $500 sometimes, depending on where you go. Especially if you go to the ER, it can be like almost 500. And those, like, somebody can go, they can go in to check your temperature. It seems like it costs a lot.
You would see the costs of medication drop dramatically. Number 4 in the U.S. has to be tipping. I think this is something that would terrify most Swedes at first, because you got to kind of understand how to tip. You know, in Sweden, it's not, you can round up on a bill and you can tip a few crowns here and there, and it's always like a nice thing to do and a nice gesture. But like a lot of servers in Sweden just have like a set salary to begin with. Or a lot of people in the United States, if you're a bartender working in a restaurant, really depend on tips. And it's usually 15 to 20% is what we tip, and 20% is like excellent service. For me, I usually always tip 20%. And I think that's something that would terrify most Swedes at first, because they don't understand their view. They're like, why not just pay them a really good salary as opposed to doing the tipping? But I've seen both sides of it. I've seen people like they can work and they get a bad night and they don't get much tip, but I've seen other people that work in the service industry that can make almost $500 a night, between $300 and $500 a night on.
And really with that, it depends on what restaurant you work at too, because some restaurants, like the people that come in, like, you know that the people that eat at this restaurant are gonna tip very well. As for me, I was a waiter once when I was 18. I was a waiter, and I always had good service, but that's for some people, different customers and stuff. It just depends, because like always, like if every time I had to wait a table for like an old couple or old person, they'll leave me like $2 or $3, which isn't bad, but it's like, you know, that's still something, because they could have just left to just pay for their food and left. But then I had some times where I did parties, and I got like $100, $200 just off of one table. So in America, it depends, because they don't, as a waiter. Like when I got my 2 weeks checks, it was like $30, $30 or $40. Probably not. It was probably like less than 30 now that I think about it. But I got tips every day, or every day I worked and stuff like that. So it make a difference. Because they don't pay a lot at all.
A night, between $300 and $500 a night on like a Friday or a Saturday, depending on where you live in the U.S. I guess that matters. Like if you're living in L.A., I guess $500 isn't that much. But if you're living in a small town or something, that can go much farther. And I just think Swedes trying to figure out the tip, understand how the tipping culture works in the United States, would be something that they would find terrifying. Number 5 has to be recycling. You know, it actually frustrates me when I'm in the United States about this, how America does such a bad job at recycling.
We do.
When I was home, we were going to recycle some electronics, and we had to drive like 30 minutes to go recycle. And like just the fact that you're in Sweden, and if you live in an apartment complex or a house, there's like a place where you can recycle most of your stuff, and then after that you can go to like a major recycling center that's usually not super far away, I think, where you can recycle things like TVs, a couch. Just it's a better place to go and do that. And in America, we are so bad with recycling. It's frustrating. I get upset sometimes when I just see like trash cans. It's like you immediately get to Europe, and it's like there's a place for plastic, there's a place for paper, there's a place.
And I feel like that depends on where you are, because like my house, we have a recycling trash can and a regular trash can. Then some places, I feel like some more public places, they're doing better, because depending on where you go, they'll have stuff for like just plastic and just regular trash, stuff like that. It really just depends, but then again, I feel like it's half and half depending on where you're at. Because then again, there's still just other places where it's just trash cans.
You immediately get to Europe, and it's like there's a place for plastic, there's a place for paper, there's a place for aluminum. And in the States, we just have a generic recycling, and in a lot of cases, we're just not doing the best job with recycling. That would terrify most Swedes, especially if you consider the fact that we have the biggest footprint when it comes to like pollution, when it comes to like things like landfills. And it's something that we need to improve upon, and I just think that most Swedes would find it frustrating about this. Now on to the next one. But first, our video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an
Okay,
Video.
Skillshare.
I, for one,
I might need to put my skills on Skillshare, you know?
Situation. So click the link today.
Thanks about audio and video editing my video. I've really liked the service, and currently I'm learning a lot.
Okay.
Things that go boom, and you know I don't want to get demonetized, so I'm just gonna say our laws with things that go boom, I think would terrify most Swedes. And depending on where you live, you might see people with things that go boom on their side, and they're just walking around. Like if you're in Texas, you're gonna see that a lot. I've seen it in Western Pennsylvania. It's perfectly legal to open carry things that go boom, and I think most Swedes would just kind of find that terrifying, especially with the current climate and things going on in the United States. And it's something where a lot of Americans say like, "Hey, this is my freedom. I have the freedom to do this."
And I understand that too, because I see people that carry things that go boom, and it'd be like, why at this place? Why would you carry it here? Like, you know, you're just having dinner, or you just, you know, it's just certain things. Like, I feel like you should carry it. You know, it's your freedom or whatever. But you don't have to take it everywhere. Like, we understand that you have it. We understand that.
And they exercise it, and they're always afraid that it's going to completely get taken away anytime there wants to be any common sense laws with things that go boom. But that would be something I would find that most Swedes would be terrified of. They wouldn't completely understand, because Swedes do have things that go boom here. They have kind of better regulations. And we don't have issues with people going around with things that go boom and causing chaos and problems, where it's a common occurrence in the United States, and you get numb over things that go boom after a while, like incidents happening and things like that. And every time we try to put common sense laws in place for things that go boom, it's a mess. And I think it has a lot to do with the things that go boom market gives a lot of money to politicians. It's big business in the United States, and on top of that, there's half of the population that really cares about this issue. And to a Swede, they would just find the whole thing terrifying. They would find our rules with it terrifying, and they would see some people with these things go boom and be a little bit terrified about it. But in most cases, if you're in the United States, I will say it's not something you even really notice, because most people have a they have a private carry, or I forget what the word is like a permit to carry, but you don't like show your thing that goes boom. It's private. So after a while, once Swedes kind of got used to it, in most cases it's not an issue, and things can feel safe in the United States. But obviously, it's something that I would like to see, better taken care of in the U.S. The last one has to be coffee.
Ooh.
I think most Swedes would be terrified of the coffee that we have, because a lot of Europeans, and especially Swedes, will call American coffee brown water. And although Swedes would come to the States and definitely like Insta story them having like a Starbucks in LA or like New York or something like that, most Swedes view our coffee is not strong enough. And it is interesting, because when you come to Sweden and you drink the coffee, it is much darker, and it definitely hits you much harder, I would say.
Dang, not the brown water. See, I'm not a coffee drink. Sometimes I will drink coffee, but I don't drink. I can't have it every day. Cause I don't know. I can drink a frappuccino or something. Like, I don't even know if that have coffee in it, but sometimes it tastes like it has a little bit of something in there. But other than that, I'd be like, no, not the coffee, but brown water. That's hilarious.
Sweeter
That's
when you drink
funny.
the coffee. It is much darker, and it definitely hits you much harder, I would say.
That's like tea.
When I first came to Sweden and I was working,
Tea is
me and
just
my
black
friend were drinking
water.
Swedish coffee, and we didn't realize we were just like high off of caffeine all the time. We were like, let's go do this. Let's go do that. We were so pumped. We were so excited constantly, so positive. And really, we were just super whacked out on caffeine. And Swedes would miss their coffee in a lot of cases, and not like it. That's my 7. I try to keep this one kind of fun and lighthearted. I try to stay away from a lot of serious things, but I might do another video on this if you guys really like this one. So if you're Swedish, go ahead and put down below what terrified you about the States.
We got
I might
this
do another
coffee
one
culture right there.
on what Americans will be terrified about, because this has been a popular video, and it's fun for me to do, and it's especially fresh in my mind from going back to the States and coming back to Sweden. So thanks again for this one. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe.
Hey, definitely enjoy your content. I already subscribed. I think I subscribed after the first video, because I was like, this was good. This was real good. But now I feel like that would definitely, it would scare a lot of Swedes just because, like, I feel like down here, I know we say it's the land of the free, but sometimes people, I don't know, I don't feel like it's out of control freedom. Most people don't care. Then you have a certain group that do care, which is probably everywhere, but I think those 7 things were pretty accurate, pretty accurate. Coffee, like I said, I don't drink too much coffee. Um, the things that go boom, like I said, it's certain things, certain places and things with that. Like, I wouldn't take it where kids are unless like I worked in a school that was kind of like it was needed type thing. But other than that, but I agree with you. I agree with you, Andrew. For sure, for sure. The healthcare, as y'all can see, we got shoes inside saying hi, healthcare, tipping, all those things. Like it probably would. And I know some Americans, some of those things scare them now too. Some of those things scare other Americans, especially this one, guys. This tipping. Some people just don't like to tip. They can have all the money in the world. Some people just don't like to tip just because, they be in and out. But to each his own, as I always say, to each his own. But that's all I have with this video. Thank you to my guy Andrew for y'all. Make sure y'all go subscribe as well. Thank you to Andrew for giving good information about Sweden. Hey, I'm learning a whole lot. I'm learning like some key things, that I gotta take into consideration, But that's all I have. Hit that subscribe button, send down those recommendations, and y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.